friend Roger Christofferson here again with another first listen review. I guess it kind of counts. What I'm actually babbling about already is the new version of Judas Priest album Rocka Rolla. It is the 50th anniversary remix of it. Yes, it has been completely remixed. This is one of these bands that I discovered way back. It was actually like the first album I ever got from these guys. And I remember when I heard it, I could still remember the exact moment I heard it was the song Screaming for Vengeance at my friend's house, and his sister was playing it in the next room. And I was like, what in the world is that song? I need to know what that song is. And so knocked on the door and had her up. I'm like, what are you listening to? And she told me what it was, and I had to get it. So that point on, I was hooked. Of course, I had to go back and get the earlier stuff. And this album, for whatever reason, it's just always been very different from their other stuff, and I actually really like this album. So when I found out they were remixing it, I was kind of excited, because the one thing I didn't like about this album is the mix I always thought was very muddy, very muddy. The feel of the album is great. I actually really like the songs. It sounds just it just has this mood and a feel to it that's almost like a spookiness to it. And it's hard to explain, but I've always enjoyed it. So when I heard this was coming out, I had to get it. And this came out actually digitally a couple months ago. So I got this, I've been listening to it since it came out. The digital, or the physical copy, comes out tomorrow. So I figured I would, just go over this a little bit, because I've had a chance to listen to this quite a few times now. The biggest thing, they brought in producer Tom Allum, who was actually done some of their other albums like British Steel and Screaming for Vengeance, and they had him come in and mix it so it would sound more like those albums. I guess that was the point of bringing him in. And, it wasn't recorded the same way, so you can only do so much in the mix, but I think he did pretty good. The band, I think, if I remember correctly, KK had only been with the band for a little bit. And, some of the writing credits actually are on here from the original vocalist before Rob. And, man, his name is escaping me. I just had it too. I'm sure somebody will correct me in the comments here. But, I had, Rob, Glenn, Ian, KK are all on this one. But they had a different drummer who was John Hinch. And this is the only album I believe he ever played on. It's funny because they've been around forever. I think they formed '69, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, I know there's been online discussion about this. There was actually no original members left in the band at all, even by this point. So who knows, whatever the history is, I kind of lose track of it, but good album nonetheless. I guess the main thing overall is there's a lot more separation. It's not muddy at all. So that is gone. It's very clear. It was exactly what I was hoping it was going to be. There's a lot of separation in instruments, and you can actually hear things. And I'll point out a couple here, things that I never even noticed were in this album before. And I've listened to this album quite a few times. The earlier version, I love popping this one in. This one you got to listen to from start to finish. It's not one I bounce around on ever. It's always one that I've listened to always from beginning to end. So it kicks in, One for the Road, actually just a little bit longer, and instantly I noticed that it's got a lot more oomph to it, a lot more punch, I guess. Right from the start I noticed that. The song Rocka Rolla is 20 seconds longer. There's actually another guitar part I heard added in that either was really low in the mix before, or I just really never noticed it, but I heard that there's another guitar part going on in the background. It's a little bit more up front now. Winter was a little bit shorter. They didn't really change anything there. It's still got that fuller feel to it. Winter Deep Freeze and then Winter Treat, where it was kind of one long song that kind of faded in and out, kind of meshed with each other, I should say. That one was slightly shorter, but Deep Freeze was a little bit longer, and that guitar solo thing that was in that one, and the original version, it was kind of had this phasey thing that faded in and out. Gone. It's just the solo now, so you can actually hear what he was playing. So I don't know if that was an effect they were trying to use on the original that, it had its place, I guess. But I actually, now hearing it without that, I actually really like it better without it. And then Wind Retreat just kind of pretty much stays the same. It's a few seconds longer, but nothing major there. Cheater's quite a bit longer, and the harmonica that was just in the middle of that is actually throughout the whole song. It comes in right from the start, and thought that was pretty cool. It's like, I'd wonder why they took it out to begin with, because it actually gives a whole new feel to the song, having that harmonica in there right from the start. Never Satisfied didn't seem like there's a whole lot different in that one, but Run of the Mill, I noticed that that keyboard intro is a lot shorter. It's like quite a bit shorter. It actually gets right to the song a lot quicker, which, take it or leave it. That really didn't change much from my opinion of that one. Good song, but Dying to Meet You, just a little bit shorter. I didn't really actually notice anything major change on that, just a slightly shorter, like the fade out. I don't know, I think it was the fade out was a little bit shorter on that one. And then the one that they did quite a bit different on was Caviar and Mess. The fade in at the beginning is completely gone, and then the fade out is gone. It just kind of ends with that drum thing that they do at the end. So overall, I'm pretty impressed. I like what they did. I think the mix is way better, and it didn't change the spooky, for me, feel of the album. So that's kind of like my quick take on it. Still gonna, I'd probably still go back and listen to the original every now and then. I'll probably mix it up, I don't know, but I did enjoy what they did. I thought it was pretty cool. If they're gonna keep doing with some of the other albums, I like the early stuff a lot better, so can't wait to hear what they do. And I almost forgot to mention, I'm actually not paying attention to my own notes, because I did take notes on this one. The one thing I really did notice, a huge difference actually overall, is the volume on the original was almost like they didn't use any compression on it. It's all over the place. Like the mellow parts of the songs super low, the loud parts of the songs really loud, so the volume is constantly going all over the place. They completely fixed that. It's very level now, so everything's even modern style compression. So that's one thing I remember that from when I first got this album, how much that bothered me, and that is gone. So that's the other thing that I didn't want to forget to mention that, and I almost did. So anyways, any comments anybody wants to make, if they've heard this, what they think, if you think they should leave this original stuff alone, they shouldn't waste their time doing this, feel free to comment. I don't think that's the case. I actually really like this version of it, so I'm happy to hear it. But we all have our own opinions. That's what this is all about, just discussing it and talking about the music and keeping the music alive. So like, share, subscribe to keep the music alive, like I just said. And if they can keep doing this, I'm down to hear what they're up with. So whatever that means. Talk to you guys in the next one. See ya.